Predators go back to that kind of like root of exercising power in a visible and often even rash way. An act that you have meditated and thought about for a long time is not an act of power. Any technocrat, any bureaucrat can do it. But a rash, surprising action, that is something that is real power.
Well, thanks a lot for talking to me. Let's start straight in. What do you mean by predators?
Well, there's two types of predators, really. It's the first time is, in a way, a very ancient beast. It's political animals who only believe in the exercise of raw force, who kind of break the rules, and you don't really recognize them. You know, the Trumps, the Millets, the Bolsonaros, some other leaders like them. You don't really recognize them if you look at political science the last 20 or 30 years, but you just open a history book and you find plenty of people like that.
Well, you characterize Trump in there, presumably, do you?
Yeah, I would say
and
so.
Bolsonaro.
Yeah.
Meloni?
Meloni is a hybrid because she used to be, she is a politician, a professional politician, and predators usually want to wipe out the political class. So, and that's why they converge with the other type of predator, which is the tech people.
Right.
Meloni, in a way, is more of a hybrid because she's a traditional politician, but she's adopted some of the predator style.
The predator style, I suppose you could say, politically, its roots in Asian democracy, what we called Asian democracy, Putin and Xi to a degree.
Well, I don't know if you can call that a democracy, but let's say yes. I would say, their main promise is very powerful in political systems that are blocked, where people have a feeling that nothing happens, that nothing moves, that you can vote right or left and nothing changes. The promise of the predator is technically a sort of miracle. Miracle in theology is God who is bypassing human laws to produce an effect on reality. And the predator miracle is the same thing. He says, I have to break the rules, break the law at time, but this is to produce an effect on a concrete problem. Whether it's illegal immigration for Trump, whether it's criminality for Bukele, the president of El Salvador, who put in jail all the tattooed people, but did make the crime rate drop, or whether it's inflation for Milei. So it's a very powerful statement, and they're only faced by what I call the party of lawyers, which is kind of people, old elites that tell them, well, you can't do that. You're breaking the law, you're breaking the rules, but actually if you don't say how you're going to solve the problem, well, the predator has more appeal.
Well, you're absolutely right, aren't you, that it is a reaction against those old elites, which have failed.
Yeah.
They have that old liberal idea, right back to Fukuyama in '89. It didn't work, did it?
Yeah, I think, the predators are what comes after the end of history and after that whole phase where you thought that basically politics could be reduced to a competition between two different sets of PowerPoint slides, and the best PowerPoint slide wins. That's not really the case. That's not really what politics is about. And I think the predators go back to that kind of like root of exercising power in a visible and often even rash way. An act that you have meditated and thought about for a long time is not an act of power. Any technocrat, any bureaucrat can do it. But a rash, surprising action, that is something that is real power. And that's why I quote in my book actually an old Duke of Saxony who had advisors who asked him to consider carefully and think before acting, and he says, well, I don't want to think and consider carefully, otherwise why would I be the Duke of Saxony?
Why would I be the Duke of Saxony? You talk about a kind of alliance with the predators of the tech world.
I think it's a convergence. It's not something that was premeditated, but I think the political predators, they came to the fore with the development of digital, which is basically a sphere. It's a sphere where all our private and public life is actually moving, where aggression is highly rewarded. A hate campaign or,
as our lies,
something.
Of course.
Yeah, as our lies, as is anything extreme and that generates some kind of of engagement, which is actually the metrics of all internet platforms, and that's why I compare it to the beginning of the 16th century in Italy, where the small republics were wiped out by another technological revolution that gave the advantage to the aggressor, which was the invention of heavy artillery.
Yeah.
And so, if you want, I think the political predators came to the fore thanks to the technology, and today they have formed an alliance with the owners of the platforms and the tech oligarchs, who in reality want the same thing. They are also outsiders.
Except if you look at the first Trump presidency, yes, you're absolutely right. Of course, that social media was utilised by the Trump campaign, by the MAGA campaign, and you're right about the way in which it was utilised. But all of the tech companies then were Democrat.
Absolutely.
The lot.
Yep.
And there's a good argument for saying that Trump was unfairly treated.
Absolutely, no, it's more than that. I mean, I talk about it in the book. I mean, before the Musk-Trump couple, there was the Obama-Eric Schmidt couple in the campaign of 2012, the re-election of Obama. Eric Schmidt, who used to be the boss of Google, had played a role in building the database and helping Obama that was at least comparable to the one that Musk had for Trump's re-election. And as you say, most of the tech establishment used to be kind of progressive, Democrat, and all of that. But what I'm talking about is something a bit different, which is not, it doesn't have to do with individual political preferences. There might still be some of them Democrats, some of them not. The point is, I think they have a fundamental interest at this point that's converging with the political predators, which is to wipe out the existing system, to wipe out the political class, left and right, to wipe out legacy media, all kind of checks and balances, boring, slow procedures and laws. The first rule of every revolution, according to Shakespeare, is first thing, let's kill all the lawyers. And this they have in common. They want to kill all the lawyers for different reasons. I mean,
possibly because we've become such a juristocracy. When you look at our country, for example, almost all the crucial issues which we're going to vote about are things which will be decided not by the politicians but by the lawyers.
Yeah.
And there is an annoyance and an anger there.
That's why I think their proposition is so strong and so popular, because, I mean, killing all the lawyers the lawyers just in itself is obviously in every country probably the most unpopular profession with politicians, and what they want to do is actually get rid of the old politicians and the lawyers. So this is a very popular argument, and it's something they have in common. That's why I think tech is converging with extreme leaders, because not they want the same thing. I mean, when Musk spoke at the Tommy Robinson rally here in London, what happened is he was saying lots of things that they loved. Let's dissolve parliament, and violence is coming. You have to get ready for it and react to that. That I think the crowd was kind of liking that. And then at one point he said, well, in the future, the future will be wonderful. It will be all robots, and it would be like living in Star Trek. And there you could feel that that's probably not exactly what they had in mind. Yeah? So they have different agendas, but it doesn't matter. In a revolution, the point is to you want to get rid of what's there. You know?
But that's the same, you might argue, with 1917 and the October Revolution in Russia.
Yeah. Well, I would say, and this is another thing that I talk about in
1848.
Oh well, of course. I mean, you have an ample choice. But 1917 is interesting because there's an Italian writer called Curzio Malaparte that I talk about in the book, who wrote a book called Technique of the Coup d'État. And basically, what he was saying in that book is that Trotsky, when he planned the revolution and then executed it, basically he didn't care for the political institutions, taking parliament, taking the ministries, taking the seat of government. What he was caring about was the technical infrastructure, the railway station, the telegraph company, the all that stuff.
To the Finland station.
And this is what happened with tech, I think. They took over the whole technical infrastructure. And so if government, I mean, in a way, the ministries and government are less important at this stage.
Right. Would you have included Berlusconi as a forerunner of the Predators?
Yeah, Berlusconi, I think, Italy is... Being Italian is not always an advantage, but it is when you study kind of like all kind of wild political forms, and Italy is a sort of Silicon Valley of populism and of political innovation in a way.
Do you dislike populism?
No, not really. I mean, I don't take a moral stance. I mean, what I try to do with my books is to understand what's the logic and the appeal of what is going on, and I do understand the logic and the appeal of these times and these leaders. Then, do I personally adhere? Am I a Trumpist? Am I a European far right person? No, I'm not. But
it's the left as well. It's populism of the left as well.
Oh, for sure. And Italy actually was pioneer in developing that as well. We had the Five-Star Movement, which was an incredible political innovation, and it was left-wing populism.
Thank you very, very much indeed.
It's been a pleasure.